Hey Doug, can you hear me? Are you there? I can't see your picture. Okay, there you are. I think there's something wrong with the sound. It's not coming in.
Yeah. Hey, look, I don't know if now is really a good time to call. I'm actually on vacation here at the beach, so
Hey Doug, can you hear me? Are you there? Okay, I
I
can
hope
see you
this is
now.
better.
I think there's something wrong with the sound. I can't hear you at all. It's off or something. It must be the time zone. Okay, you're coming in better now, but
Hi again. I hope this is better. I just adjusted the
no,
clock on the
it's not really
camera,
working.
so it should be in your time zone, so the sound should come out all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see much better now.
Sure, I'd be happy to help um, talk about Premiere
That's good.
and video editing. What I'd like to start with is just have a look at the syllabus. So grab your syllabus and read through it, and we'll go through a few points, and then we can actually start talking about the projects and the timeline. Okay, let's get started. Okay, you can read the course description and course requirements on your own. You don't need me to do that. Likewise, you can do the same with the grades.
Okay, go to the bottom of page 3 and look at material list.
There is some equipment that you need for this course, and there is some that is desirable if you have that equipment. You will need a portable hard drive with connecting table. You should have minimum of 1 terabyte, hopefully 2, and digital storage, whether you use your own camera or one of our own. And SD is what is preferred. And also a micro SD card for if you have something like a GoPro or something like that. And you will also need a cable for the camera or other devices, like if you do not use an SD card. For any device you have, it'd be good to have a cable for that. This is what would be desirable to have for the course. One would be your own video camera, and you could get a very expensive one, or you could use actually a digital SLR, make sure that it has video capability, or you could even use a lower end video capable camera. If you're into sports or things like that, you might try something like a GoPro, which is a very fun camera to have. Or I suppose most of you probably have something like a cell phone or a smartphone. One other thing that you would like to have would be a tripod, and if you're rich enough, a fluid head for your tripod. Now, you'll always need buckets of time for this course or for any sort of video production. You need to have some dedication for it and also lots of energy. If you can afford it, you might want a helicopter just to get around, but that's kind of a little bit expensive. And your own mountain to climb. That there is K2. It's the second highest mountain in the world. I've designed this course to be useful for students from many disciplines. You could therefore create art videos, documentaries, or even technical videos for demonstrations. You may even choose to do one type of each video or some uncategorized form of video work. Here are some samples of art video installations.
I must bear while the cruel scourge I fear on the land of Virginia Virginia home.
Here are some short clips from various documentary videos.
In fact, we couldn't even walk anymore. We were crawling and laying on our knees down this small little trail, and all of a sudden there was a small boy on our left. He was carrying a water container over his shoulder, and all of a sudden there was all this commotion. People were running all over each way. There was noise. Dwayne and I right away.
And here's a nice old technical video about transmissions.
For a number of years now, work has been proceeding in order to bring perfection to the crudely conceived idea of a transmission that would not only supply inverse reactive.
As with many types of editing software, there are a number of ways to achieve a given result or task. There are a lot of different types of shortcuts and alternate ways of making, let's say, a transition or color filter effect. You are free to explore the software as you like. You can imagine learning a program similar to Premiere as climbing some mountain, not quite as difficult as K2. There are a number of different routes to the top. You may choose a long route, stop, spend some time learning in depth various effects, and then move towards sound editing and other functions. You may choose to work primarily with green screening and composite layering, touching only briefly on other effects. Your route might focus primarily on editing for pace and rhythm, with an emphasis on camera work and transitions. You might slip up here and there, but it's not dangerous like mountain climbing. You can always get back up and continue. You might even take the easy way and hire somebody to do it for you. But you don't learn as much doing it that way. A number of you already have some experience in video editing with a number of different softwares. And I expect you to work at your own level. However, for students with no experience, we're going to start at ground level and work our way up the ladder. So one might learn the software with specific goals in mind and eventually learn most of the software through the practice of trial and error or through systematic collection of building blocks. I will be teaching this course in a structured, systematic way aimed at reaching levels or plateaus where you can eventually work out all of the tools and functions on your own, rather than focusing on specific effects. There are, however, some effects, such as color keying, where I will spend more time with as they have a certain complexity in getting them to work perfectly. Now let's take a look at some of the things that we will be learning in this class. The first lesson for today will be looking at the timeline and sequences using the toolbox and learning how to put sound and video clips onto the timeline, and then editing them, cutting them up, and moving them around. Here is a short sped-up video showing the creation of a video on the timeline using a number of random video and sound clips using all of the editing functions in the toolbox and brought to the exportation of the video. Next up, we will be looking at the motion and transform functions. The motion functions being scale, position, rotation, and opacity. And the transform functions being cropping and flipping horizontally and vertically. Here's a more extensive look at playing with scale.
In this case, we have green because I'm hopefully not too green.
You also learn how to use the timeline to make a stop action animation.
Window girl.
As part of the first assignment, you'll be learning how to use all of the different effects and filters, and how to think about a video that has no editing and is just simply one long take.
Что? Ну, по-моему, хорошо. Хорошо. Хорошо.
And here's another video using a lot of random clips with a lot of random effects and filters thrown in.
And it won't be long. Let's enjoy the view, sing another song. Is that you, baby? Yeah. I've hung around too long.
For the second project, we will use appropriated or found imagery along with some of our own imagery and investigate the use of color keying or green screening as we know it, and look at composite layering.
It's raining today.
History.
And ripped and
One of the aspects of Premiere that we will be examining in this course is that of color keying, or often known as green screening, where the program allows you to eliminate digitally part of the image based on color, thus color keying, and replacing it with some other imagery or background of your choosing. That's true. Color keying is widely used in the film and video industry. That allows composite layering, where you can film with the characters or objects in one location, and then you can insert a background in a completely different location. For example, here we could just remove the green screen here and put this scene. Whoops, sorry, that's not a very good one. How about we put this one? See, that's a lot more appropriate. And now it appears I'm relaxing by a beautiful bucolic seaside scene in Nova Scotia. And key it out. Alright, so I am going to talk about color keying and green screening, which is a type of color keying, and things like that.
It's important to remember the cultural references for various things that you do. For the third assignment, we'll be looking at formal qualities in film and video, which would be aspects and elements of composition. The first thing that we will look at would be the relationship between the camera and the subject, being either the landscape or the character, in terms of proximity and angle. Through camera use and site location, we can work with the emotional quality of the spaces that we create within the video or film. Lighting is one of the primary tools for developing the emotional color of a film or video.
I don't attach importance to sunshine anymore.
Color can be used as a formal, emotional, or symbolic tool in your film or video.
Green plant. Thereby, they were able to identify the enemy hidden in the landscape. Kodak discontinued it in 2009. And then I thought, well, where should I take this ludicrously paleted bubblegum pink film?
Throughout the semester, I will be showing you film clips of interviews from very well-known filmmakers and video artists.
I was deep into isolated pockets of North and South Kivu to visit very, very remote rebel groups who were far beyond the infrastructure of the United Nations, for example. So there's this sort of Hobbesian state of war where everyone's got their back up, and for the last several decades, people have been living in this cycle, sort of a nightmarish cycle of vicious little wars.
And those are moments where I had the feeling I was blessed. Something fell into my lap that in a way I knew I deserved it, but yet you have to be lucky as well. And it's a really wonderful moment when you see how steep it is as chicken in their llamas, everything